as long as China stays offline like it is that they're 20% of the oil market. I just can't see how oil prices stay elevated. They're going to run out of ships like they did before. What you're looking out over Singapore or over Malaysia, the place where they hide all the tankers, is that they could play games with this for a while in the futures market, but at some point, people are going to have to take delivery of the oil, or they're going to stop producing in the home countries, and you're going to see the price of crude just collapse.
With global stock markets gaining $17 trillion in value throughout 2019 alone, global stock markets have been on a torrid run through the last year. And with the disruption in supply chains across the planet beginning now, tradegenius issuing sell signals, buy signals, shorting signals. And over the last 30 days, tradegenius has netted its traders 91% of their money from stock and crypto trades. And with the unknown if companies can indeed continue their supply chain allocations, binary options come in play. And if you've never traded before and want to take advantage of these types of profits every day in the market, I urge you to sign up for one of many of tradegenius online educational courses. Learn to trade stocks, cryptocurrency, binary options. Right now through the month of February, you can save over 40% off bundled specials. Use the promo code Valentine's. tradegeniusacademy.com and discover the lucrative world of trading with personal coaching from Bob Kudla and Philip Cleaver. Because our world's entering uncharted territory, and tradegenius can see over the horizon. tradegeniusacademy.com, the link's in the description box below.
And so I'm expecting a lot of these restaurant companies to retrace. People aren't eating out in the U.S. because they can't afford it. People aren't eating out in China because they can't get to the restaurants. And if input costs start to rise, that you can't see those in the stock charts because what people pay from the wholesalers are not reflected in the futures prices. So this is where I'm looking for my opportunity. And then also you look at a company like Kroger, right? This is the big food chain. This one's going to suffer too. So that's where people always ask me, where can I make money if food prices go up? You're going to make money by learning how to short against these restaurants and these grocery stores, and you can do it through put options. And so we'll be calling out some of these trades and seeing where the opportunities are. But right now we're still making most of our money trading in the metals and the miners. And then here's one too. I'll give you guys a freebie. I think it's going to hit this week. Is I think Tilray is ready to take another move higher. So if you can't eat, get high and then try to find food, right? So that's a joke.
Yeah, for the sick ones out there, you got that. But the realists, you're like food first, food second. Yeah,
so you keep an eye on Tilray, Cron, and Canopy. They're all starting to show indications for another impulse higher. We caught the Tilray move earlier in the year, and we're going to get another push here on this. Where is it at here? So right here, this is the move we caught in January, and so I'm expecting we're going to get another impulse higher here on the marijuana stocks. I didn't buy it on Friday when we got the signal because I wasn't sure if they'd take it away on Tuesday, but I'm definitely getting my my buy order ready to jump on this thing tomorrow, Dave.
Yeah, don't get the munchies while you're in a food shortage. That would be a bad thing.
Yeah, I'll just trade it. I don't use it. So I haven't touched this stuff since I was a wee lad. So, but
still a wee lad, Bob. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, people older than me smoke this stuff. So, but anywho, this is a nice opportunity, and this are signals. We catch these things. So, all these are our algorithms that we built in here to give us signals to take advantage of a trade. Here we had a change in trend, and as enthusiasm came up, and we had a buy signal, and it's just no brainer to take the trade. Okay, and it was just a beautiful thing. So we caught this candle right in here, And but this move was amazing, and we did it with options. So so many ways to make a lot of money if you just know when the turns are going to happen, and we just try to find these things every day.
Yeah, I can attest also to the Ethereum Classic that I've also been using with the Moneymaker. Pulled a couple of real easy signal trades off of that. Yeah, I've been holding on to my ETC for a while, trying to sell out around 9 or above, and then once it hit that signal and it went up around 12, then I was like, bouncing back and forth with it, and yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and the nice thing is I'm more Litecoin guy here. So you probably caught. You can trade this on any time frame if you notice.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how aggressive.
Yeah, because I'm always looking for myself, at least when I see two of them closer together, to know that that's the final top, and then I'll take that one. So
yeah, and this is 15-minute, but I mean, you could trade this thing on the 1 minute, or you can trade it on the daily, depending on what you like to do.
I like to sometimes go to the 2 or 4 hour, just a little bit longer, especially when I'm following the MACD that's not inside your charts. And then you got the enthusiasm index, and there's a whole bunch of rollover indicators there, like your ribbon. And then you see right there at the top where you got the double arrows there. That's definitely a sell signal for me. And then boom, you pick that one at the top. And then on the bottom too, when you see the bye-bye where you have two of them relatively close, that's kind of the thing I'm looking for. And then I'll use something else off of Coinigy as one of the indicators as well. So I use a couple different sets. And it's all just a learning curve for me. And I found I'm so impressed by how easy it was to just watch these signals come through. And if you set it for like about 1 hour or something, you can really get that trend, especially on the 4 hour. You can overlap and see ahead of time if it's starting to twist which direction there too on the just on a longer trend on the 4 hour for me. So I try to overlap different hourly trends as well as some shorter ends. But when I see that double, especially that top there, is about the most perfect example as you could possibly get there, where it is literally on the top with the double triangle for a sell. So
yeah, and right here too, we're getting a trend change, and the enthusiasm index is ready to come up again.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when they first do this, they may double Dutch down and then take another move higher. But if you're just trading this just on the signals, you'd have got in there right now about 930 to 960. That's not bad living here if you can catch these on and on and on again. But it looks like it's setting up again. The energy is re-engaging, and the only thing is here is that money flow has already gotten up to the top. So I would probably at this point let this cross over to 20 line, have this money flow reset, and probably take the next move if you're trading ETC. But I mean, just pick your poison here. I mean, this is like.
Yeah, for those of you out there, I trade ETC more than anything because it's always up and down, up and down. It's always up $1, down 50 cents, up 50 cents, 75 cents, $1, $1.25. It's always up and up and up and down and up and up. It's frequently moving, and if you're happy to be able to, scrape 50 cents to $1 on every single move out of there, then just be smooth and steady with it. It's one of those you don't really want to get greedy with. It's just smooth and steady, smooth and steady.
Yeah, you got to really divorce yourself from all your own biases too.
Mm-hmm.
There's either a trader or you're an investor, right? So if you're going to invest, have your HODL stash, right? And then forget about that. And then if you're investing, just swing with the moves. I don't even listen to the news, Dave, during a trading day. I don't want to be confused, right? So here's linear regression. Here's Litecoin. Litecoin's setting up for a trade right here, right? So, let money flow reset up. I got a trend change signal here. And then let's say you're wrong, right? Okay, you're wrong. You just buy it on the next dip down. If you make money 2 out of every 3 times trading, Dave, you'll do very well over time. You just have to be very mechanical about it and just be ruthless when you're wrong. And then when you're right, try to have as much courage as you can to keep with it until you get the sell signal, but just keep moving your stops up. But this is going to be a year of tremendous fear and tremendous opportunities. I think what's going to come out of this coronavirus thing is that this is kind of like stage 1. It's the second year of this thing. It doesn't go away. We may have a vaccine, we may not, but next fall, this thing's going to come back again, and it's already embedded outside the country. And so if this thing really takes off somewhere else, it's just going to be a mess.
Yeah, and that thing about it's a slow and steady too with the progression, because you've seen it went from 0 to a couple thousand outside China. Like, it's not going to stop. It's going to continue with this linear progression. And I do believe a lot of the numbers are wrong, even through the United States. Getting conflicting reports about doctors needing to sign NDAs and some couple of hospitals that have a bunch of confirmed cases up in New York, around Buffalo, and further suburbs up there. And, I've seen 2 accounts where doctors and, medical staff, nurses, whatever, had to sign NDAs that they wouldn't talk about it, anything whatsoever about this. Either that they're trying to prevent panic and the fear, but you can see the thing sweeping through Asia. And every time you look, it's another country with just even more and more and more cases. So I left Taiwan for a while because they import 98% of what they need every day. And their cases are already building up, and store shelves were starting to go a little bare when I was there with the essentials, rice, beans, any of the hygiene stuff was already gone. All the Clorox bleach, anything rubbing alcohol, mask, all that, gloves, anything, the whole 9 yards was gone right away. You can see it progressing from there. And now, Thailand's getting hit real bad, and, Malaysia's starting to pick up a few cases. Hong Kong's pretty much gone. And as we look through Singapore coming in next, you're looking at the major financial capitals starting to, they're going to have to do the same thing, completely quarantine in or, stop business. You can only work from home or whatnot. But how long can you really do that before you need a physical pair of hands to lift a container off the dock so you bring something in or out of a country? You can press keyboards all day long, but it takes real goods and real services to move through to keep an economy going. So what I've seen across Asia, I think that's the end of the continent for a little while economically. And there's got to be that shift somewhere. That pendulum's going to move elsewhere. But, the thing I found too was people became a little nervous of going into work or going into areas that had a lot of people. In Taiwan, for example, there was a lot more sick calls and sick days and people not wanting to go because they're like, oh, I don't want to get on the MRT. I don't want to get on the train. I just don't want to take that chance of going in, because after that cruise ship dock there, here's a little thing for you. They started to track everybody's phone who was close to that person, because what they did is the cruise ship had a bunch of taxis that took people around. Well, then they found out who the taxi drivers were, and then they started to find where these individuals went at what time of the day, pretty much narrowed down to within 5 or 10 minutes. And then what they do is they went into the phone log records of everybody with their locations and found out the name of the number of the phone and the name of the person that was in a periphery. Now they're hunting all these people down to see if they have symptoms. But they went to something like 25 locations around northern Taiwan. So now everybody's in this huge fervorous hunt to find people who are remotely close to them by using phone tracking and where their location was. And China's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take too long before it sweeps through the rest. And it's just it's a show over there for sure.
San Diego County just today declared a medical emergency. I think it's more of a federal thing to get more resources in because of the some of the cases down there. But yeah, they're kind of dotted around the U.S. I think the only one person in the U.S. has died. I think maybe 2 of Chinese descent. So it's going to be interesting to see when it's non-Asian starting to at any kind of accelerated rate. I think is going to cause the fear. I mean, look, maybe China's saying, hey, we can absorb this, but the U.S. won't be able to. Who knows what's going through these guys' heads, right? So, but it just doesn't seem to be having the same effect in the U.S. as it is around the world. But I do fear for Asia, though. They've already quarantined cities in Vietnam. And if Singapore
and the Philippines.
Yeah, if Singapore goes, it's going to be bad news, because Singapore has a lot of extremely high technology exports, that will definitely cause a hurt locker on the rest of the world if they start shutting the factories down there.
Yeah, my thing's about the farmers, like protect the farmers, because they're the ones who are going to be able to plant the food or not. Take away the hazmat suits from like TSA in the airport, because they're going to be laid off anyway with less traveling and less air flights everywhere. Take all that protective gear and give it to the farmers, and make sure we keep our farmers super protected, super safe, and give them the ultimate in prophylactics against this, whatever it might be that's going to come at them, because we need them to run the machines, and they need to get fuel dedicated for their planting this year. And, we can watch it play out in real time in China first, where nothing's planted, and hopefully we can learn from what went wrong there with that whole seed supply and everything else, and motor fuels and whatever, to get those machines into the fields. and it's already incredibly wet. You know, you're already looking at planting delays in some of the same areas as last year, but looks like further down the Mississippi River, especially in Arkansas, and these areas are incredibly wet already. And we're starting to see like a 2.0 repeat of the areas that were super soaked last year that had incredibly delayed planting. So it's going to be, you know, kind of a Rubik's Cube of keeping everything intact so we can plant.
Canada's going offline, so whoever's listening from Canada, I don't have to tell you, is that you got these crazies that are trying to block the ability to create energy in Canada, for climate change, as the climate there is getting brutally cold. They're not going to be able to grow crops. And then if this coronavirus catches on up there, where people have to be locked in the buildings all the time through ventilation systems, Canada's kind of my canary in the coal mine for the Western economies, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously China's one to watch too, but Canada's right next door. We're not going to be able to escape it in terms of being able to see what happens. So that's what I'm watching. What's going on in Canada. I always told people that I feel for it, because I have a lot of Canadian customers and great people, weird leadership, and I don't think they truly understand the missiles that are coming towards their economy. I mean, they're basically Canada's energy mining and farming, and they're actively trying to destroy two, and God's destroying the other one. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in Canada. And for the U.S., if Mexico catches this virus in mass, they're going to force the closure of the southern border. People are going to be screaming for it. So it's going to be really interesting to watch, what I would call the Latino hotspots in the U.S. A lot of migration, especially Easter coming up. A lot of people go home to visit their families. And, if that virus catches hold and infects folks in Mexico, then they're just going to bring it right back into the States. And I think it's going to be a really interesting thing. So this is not your daddy's stock market this year, I'll tell you that. It's going to be really, and then you got the political crazy season coming up on top of it. So, we're just really cautious. We think gold and silver are going to break out, Dave. Crypto's already
I do too, for sure, definitely.
Yeah. So, just stay what you think's working, and watch the energy markets. I was bringing up oil here. We got kind of caught onto a different subject, but
oh yeah, USO.
I think oil is trying to make is going to try to make a recovery here for the spring. And what I'm looking for now more than anything else is I'm looking to see if I get a failure here below right here, Dave. That's considered a right here. That would be considered a failure of my swing. Okay. So if we get another red triangle before we get above 56.35, then my expectation is we'll break this low. And if, as long as China stays offline like it is that they're 20% of the oil market. I just can't see how oil prices stay elevated. They're going to run out of ships like they did before. What you're looking out over Singapore or over Malaysia, with the place where they hide all the tankers, is that they could play games with this for a while in the futures market. But at some point, people are going to have to take delivery of the oil, or they're going to stop producing in the home countries, and you're going to see the price of crude just collapse.
Yeah, and Bob's referencing that graphic that I sent. The guys that work up in the office that have a view of the harbor off Singapore, they're using a telephoto lens, and as far as you could see off into the horizon was just anchored ships out there by the thousand. And we're talking large vessels here. They're all holed up because they were trying to transship and either get up to Hong Kong or go up into the ports. All those ports in China are closed. So what are all those ships going to do? And then if you look at some of the ship tracking software as well, you start to see just lines and lines and lines of green dots, all heavy off the East Coast there, off of Tianjin. And when you come further down near Guangdong area, heavy concentrations of ships hanging offshore, all force majeure, but they're waiting to unload, possibly, maybe. So it's a ship parking lot out there in Asia now. So where do all these vessels go to? They're going to have to I don't know, you're going to need this. Most times they would bring something back. So what's happening on the return or voyage there? Nothing's going to be inbound or outbound from China.
Yeah,
So
it's going to be a slinky effect.
it
Even
is.
if China recovers in April from this for the summer season, it's going to reverb. We're watching now. Look at the hardware stores, and then going into summer into fall. Is there going to be anything for Christmas? Because China started repurposing a lot of their manufacturing plants to try to produce things to curtail this virus too. So, but I think what people really need to take note of is just watch what happens in America with the virus more than anywhere else. Okay, because that's what's going to affect our policies in terms of the fiscal liquidity that they're pumping into the market. If the American engine slows down, it doesn't matter what China's engine does. They won't have a market for their stuff. And so that's what people need to really pay attention to. Watch the price of oil. Oil is an economic activity indicator. And that's been falling since the beginning of the year, basically since Corona came out. And even with all the money printing they've done, oil should be skyrocketing, but they can't keep the price up. And then just watch the precious metals. We think silver and gold will break out. Cryptos are just fine. Just keep buying dips if you're a trader. Keep holding if you're a hodler, and you're going to do well. And if you want to trade with us, just go to tradelikeagenius.com. I put some special together for Dave. You take advantage of them by Saturday.
And I'll put the link in the description box below again. And like I say, you can take my personal recommendation of using the Moneymaker Signals trades here and how easy it is to use. And then, Bob and their crew over there can give you a little bit of hints and ideas. And they have some courses that go along with that can show you some different inside or professional trade tips as well.
Yeah, we have two trading rooms open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you could pop in there, ask us questions, or even ask questions of other people in the room. So we have a trading room just for cryptos and a trading room just for stocks. So we don't mix everybody up, and then people can trade what they want to trade. And if you're a beginner trader, no problem. We'll get you up to speed. And if you're an experienced trader, I think you'll love the indicators.
A realm of information across many different industries to see how we're going to move forward with the changes that we're experiencing. We've never been here before, so we'll play it out in real time. And Bob, until we talk next time, thank you for all the cutting edge or the leading edge ideas on how you think the economy might bend because of this virus coming out of China.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, Dave. I'll catch you sometime this spring.
Okay, sounds good. Till then, bye.